Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to the What a Deck profile for the Secret Gendo Pendulum Lockdown deck, as brought to you by Patreon sponsor MillionLittleE. I'm just going to go through everything in here and then I'll explain how it works. So for monsters, we have 3 Dragon Pit Magician, 2 Dragon Pulse Magician, 2 Majespecter Unicorn, 1 Luster Pendulum, 1 Skullcrabat, 3 Majespecter Fox, 3 Gendo the Ascetic Monk, 3 Majespecter Raccoon, and 3 Jowgen the Spiritualist. For spells, we have 3 Pendulum Call, 1 Upstart Goblin, 3 Terraforming, 2 Summoner's Art, and 3 Secret Village of the Spellcasters. For traps, we have 3 Majespecter Tempest, 3 Solemn Strike, and 1 Solemn Warning. Extra deck, 1 Ignister Prominence, 1 Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon, 1 Big Eye, 1 Utopia Beyond, 1 Utopia the Lightning, 1 Dark Rebellion Ixie Dragon, 1 Trapeze Magician, 1 Original Utopia, 1 Silent Honor Arc, 1 Giant Hand, 1 Heartland Draco, 1 Castell, 1 Gagaga Cowboy, 1 Gram Pulse, and 1 Zenmaines. The side deck I will go over in a moment. So, as the name implies, this is a lockdown deck, which means its win condition is to prevent your opponent from playing by eliminating certain aspects of the game. The secret in the name comes from Secret Village of the Spellcasters. This says if you control a Spellcaster-type monster and your opponent does not, your opponent cannot activate spell cards. So, all the cards, all the monsters in here are Spellcasters, except for Luster Pendulum, and he's going to be in your Pendulum Zone 99% of the time, so don't worry about that. So as long as you have a monster and this, there's spell cards. It's one of the 3 cards just immediately taken out of the game, unless they're also playing Spellcasters. The Gendo comes from Gendo the Ascetic Monk. This is a newer card. It says face-up attack position monsters on the field cannot activate their effects. This defense position card cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. So this is going to take out a lot of monster effects. If they normal summon a monster and then try to use its effect, they're not going to be able to use it. Of course, they can't summon in face-up defense position. They might be able to special summon something, but that's why we have Jowgen the Spiritualist. This says as long as this card remains face-up on the field, no monsters can be special summoned. Or if you don't have that, we've also got Solemn Strike, which can negate the special summon of a monster by paying 1,500 life points, or a monster effect if they happen to normal summon something and try to use its effect. We've also got the 1 Solemn Warning that does essentially the same thing, but more effectively. And we've got Majespecter Tornado, which says when a monster would be special summoned or a monster effect is activated, tribute 1 Wind Spellcaster-type monster, negate the special summon or activation, and if you do, destroy it. So in order to use Majespecter Tempest, we run a small Majespecter engine. We have 3 Majespecter Fox, 3 Majespecter Raccoon, and the 2 Unicorn. If you're unfamiliar with the Majespecters, they all have the same effect, that they cannot be targeted by card effects or destroyed by card effects. They're all Wind Spellcasters, so you can tribute them with Majespecter Tempest. And the idea is basically, whenever these 2 are normal summoned, this one lets you grab another Majespecter from your deck to your hand, and this lets you grab your Majespecter Tempest. So you summon these, you get their effects to search out things, and then you tribute them to negate the summons, and then next turn you can just pendulum summon them out again and keep searching. And they're really difficult to get rid of, even if they have kind of small attack. The only missing piece from this is, of course, Kieran, the Majespecter Unicorn. He does not search out anything, and he is actually level 6, so the Majespecters cannot pendulum summon them. Their scales are 5 and 2, which means they can summon all the level 4s and 3s you have, including Jowgen and Gendo, as well as themselves, but they can't special summon Majespecter Unicorn. Majespecter Unicorn says during either player's turn, you can target 1 pendulum monster you control and 1 monster your opponent controls, return them to your hand. This is a really powerful stun, especially if you've already locked down special summons or you've locked down spells. Every time they summon something, if they get out a Synchro or an Ixie monster, you just return one of these or itself to the hand, or any of your other pendulum monsters, and then you're sending that back to the hand, you're getting rid of it, and next turn you can just pendulum summon it out again. Like I said, in Majespecters, this is kind of hard to get out, but that's why we run the Pendulum Magician engine. We've got Dragon Pit Magician and Dragon Pulse Magician, who have a scale of 1 and 8, which means if you get those 2 out, you can summon anything in the deck. So you start with a Kieran, and a Gendo, and maybe even a Jowgen, and you've got a pretty substantial lockdown, especially if you have one of your Majespecter Tempest or one of your Solemn Strikes already there. These 2 also have the additional effect if you have nothing but Magician cards in your Pendulum Zones. If you just have these 2, you can discard a Pendulum monster to either destroy 1 spell trap or destroy 1 face-up monster. And since we run a lot of Pendulums, you have a lot of discard fodder for either of those. So that's pretty much the main combo of the deck. Get Dragon Pit and Dragon Pulse, or if you really need to, you can use the Majespecters with them, with the 8 and these being a 2. That still lets you special summon everything in the deck if you have a 2 with Dragon Pit. Dragon Pit's the most essential. Dragon Pulse is okay, plus it's an 1800 beater, but regardless, you get your pendulum scales set up, And then you can summon all these stun cards. You've got negations, you've got searching, you've got anti-special summon, you've got anti-effect, and you've got just general monster removal. And between all of that, you should be able to completely stop your opponent from doing anything. And as long as you can keep at least one of these monsters on the field, Secret Village is going to prevent them from using any spells, so they're not going to be able to Twin Twister or MST or Galaxy Cyclone your scales. It's just going to be a nightmare. Everything else in the deck is just used to search out or speed that up. We were playing the one Leicester Pendulum. If this is in your Pendulum Zone, you can destroy the other card in your Pendulum Zone and add one card from your deck to your hand with the same name. This is really good, especially if you have like a Majespecter in your other Pendulum Zone. You can blow it up and then Pendulum summon it back out, or just if you have something other than a Dragon Pit and you really want to get that higher scale in there, you can blow it up and then add a Dragon Pit in. We've got Skullcrabat Joker. When he's normal summoned, you can add a Magician Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand, so he searches out both of these. Also an 1800 Spellcaster Beat Stick, so just decent in general. Pendulum Call, you can discard a card to add both of these from your deck to your hand. Upstart Goblin speeds up the deck. Terraforming is going to let you get Secret Village more consistently. Summoner's Art, because this is a normal monster, you can use it to get Dragon Pit. And again, you want this to be your higher scale, because all the rest of them are 5s. And if you get like a Bambuku, like you could still summon most of your things, but it's going to slow you down with Kieran a little bit. So being able to get that Dragon Pit as soon as possible is really, really good. That's pretty much it for the main deck. The extra deck is just a toolbox. You've got access to a lot of different things. If you get 2 Dragon Pit Magicians, you can make rank 7s, rank 6s with Majespecter Unicorn, a lot of rank 4s with all your various things. And if you get 3 Bambukus, you can make rank 3s. Of course, the added ability of Luster Pendulum means you can make Ignister Prominence if you want to. Finally, we just have the side deck, and this is the actual side deck. This is what I would recommend playing with it. Basically, you lock down a bunch of different things, and not everything is going to work against every deck. So, if you go against something that normal summons a lot, take out the Jowgen the Spiritualist, put in Royal Decree, that'll stop them from using their traps, or put in Majespecter Tornado, you can banish monsters on the field, you'll have more to search with your Fox. We've got Archfiend Eccentric, which is, if it's in your Pendulum Zone, you can target one other spell trap on the field, destroy it and this card. If it's on the field, you could target it and another monster and destroy those cards. Of course, it's got the 7 scale, so it's another high scale. It's level 3, so you can Pendulum Summon it with any of your scales set up. So this is just good removal in general. The only reason I don't play it in the main deck is because it's a Fiend, so it kind of messes with Secret Village of the Spellcasters. So if you need that extra distraction, and one of these is particularly not good, like I said, I already mentioned Jowgen against things that normal summon. Gendo against things that don't have effects, he's not going to be all that useful. If you're playing against Spellcasters yourself, Secret Village isn't going to be great. That's why we have the Sky Iris. This allows you to keep the terraformings in here. This is a Magician, perform a power and odd eyes cards in your Pendulum Zone, cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects. You can target one other face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do, add 1 odd eyes from your deck to your hand. So this will let you get through your deck just a little bit faster, and it'll protect the stuff in your pendulum scales. If you're running into problems with traps, that's the only thing we don't really negate, so that's why we have the Royal Decree. As I said, Tornado is just, sometimes, again, they don't special summon a lot, so this is a little bit better. It's banishing. I don't play it in the main deck because there's not enough things that target. Plus, we don't have enough room. Generally, this is the better of the cards to do, but this is a little better in some instances. And finally, Engraver of the Mark. This is the only real tech card, but this is really kind of underappreciated, I feel like. During either player's turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect by declaring a card name, send this card from your hand to the graveyard, declare another card name, and the card name your opponent declared becomes that card name. So what does that mean? Basically, if they try to search something out, like a specific thing, you can change the card name to something else. So it's anti-search power. More importantly for this deck, it has 1800 attack and it's a level 4 spellcaster. So it works with Secret Village, it has extra attack, it's good for going into your rank 4s. It also has this additional effect people don't mention much. Once per turn during either player's turn, target one face-up card on the field. During the next end phase, destroy it. If you're going against a more stally deck, this can be really good, because you activate that effect, and then even if he leaves the field, that effect still goes off during the next end phase. So if you're running into a problem with, like, monster removal, where your opponent has a lot of monsters that can't be destroyed by battle, if you need to deal with spell traps that are already face-up if you're going second, he could be a pretty good alternative because it's a monster effect, and like I said, it just has synergy with everything else. So there you go, I hope you enjoyed. This is probably my most competitive deck to date. Next week, I'm going to be looking at stuff from the new movie, hopefully some Cubics. Should be fun, it's a really interesting deck. Until then, good luck, have fun.